Wouldn't it be nice if what came out of your mouth in that first section, when you were talking to yourself in first person or third person, was the same as what came out in the source voice? Wouldn't that be nice if they were exactly the same? So I love the fact that y'all notice different things. The most common thing people notice is how long it takes. We did mirror work to ourselves for 5 minutes, and source was 6 minutes. That's how long we did. So it's a really short period of time, really short period of time. What most people do when they look in the mirror is they kind of go out, right? And they just make sure they look okay. And then when they look okay, they often judge themselves. Oh, when are you going to lose that weight? When's that going to happen? What's wrong with you? The wrinkles, the gray hair, the this, the that. The other really interesting thing was how some of you mentioned it felt awkward. It was uneasy because you're now talking to yourself. Who is the most important person in your life? Exactly. And we had a chat about this on the way back from Whole Foods. Courtney was saying, when you often say, well, I'm going to a workshop to work on me, people say, well, there's nothing wrong with you. So why are you going to work on you? You've got to work on me, right? Come and hang out with me and help me, right? So unless we actually take care of ourselves, what are we good for anyone else, right? So the fact that a lot of us have issues with mirror work in the first place tells us that there's a discord there, what you were just saying. The mind and the emotions are different. And the fact that we want to go neutral, yeah, you're okay. Remember we talked about this right before we did this work? When we're in number 7 and 8, which is contentment and boredom, yeah, you're okay. Yeah, okay. Where are you going to go? Down. Got it? So almost always when we're saying, yeah, you're okay, what really is happening underneath it is stuff down here. Got it? But a lot of times, like you were saying, we want to ignore that. It's like, okay, just go away, just go away. So it's really important to be aware, like really what this exercise, mirror work, it's about being conscious. This is what you guys do up here. This is what you do to yourselves. So is it any surprise that when we ask you, how do you feel about yourself? You're like, oh, I don't know, right? And is it any surprise that a lot of the health conditions are health conditions where our body is actually fighting ourselves because we have so much discontent about ourselves. We were talking again over lunch, and, what we see in another is actually within ourselves. So when we see it in them, there's something going on in here. So what if we actually did a little bit more of self, not shifting the talk, but being first brutally honest. And then over time, not shifting it on purpose, but letting it fizzle out. Because if you did mirror work, and you got the mirror, and you're like, oh, you're an idiot, I hate you, oh my God, that's only going to last so long. If you did every day for 5 or 6 minutes, brutally honest, you're eventually going to get tired of that. Then what eventually starts to happen is you go, you know what, you're all right. You know what, you're doing an okay job. And then that starts to fizzle. You know what, you're doing a pretty good job. I have one client from years ago who did the mirror work every day. She was on chronic disability, and through the mirror work, she realized how much she had so much self-loathing and self-anger. And then that at herself lasted about 20 days, 25 days, right, where she got really angry at herself because she just kind of said, I'm going to do mirror work every day for 5 or 6 minutes every day. At first, she had to have a clock on because she couldn't do it for a minute before she'd like want to throw it out the window, right? So every day, 5 minutes. Then after about 21 days, that anger stopped. And then it went into blame. It's his fault, it's her fault. That lasted for another 20 days. Then after that, it softened. Then basically about 3 months after, she owned who she was. And then a month after that, she got off of disability because she sort of rebuilt her, for lack of a better word, love for herself or alignment with herself, right? Because at first it was hate myself, then blame everybody else, and then, all right, fine. So mirror work can be completely transformative, completely. The reason we did the second side was source. We want to know how that was for you. How was it for you when we said switch? Now tell us what source says. How was that part for you guys? What did you notice there? Easier. Interesting. Okay. Easier. It flowed more. What else did you notice? It didn't take as long. And yet we did it a minute longer. Okay, all right, so it was easier. It flowed. What else? It was lighter. It was happier. What else? Anything else?
For me, it was in third person. I couldn't talk.
Third person, that's fine. That's fine. A lot of people have grown up, you know, a lot of those belief systems for 20 years you've been on the planet, have grown up to believe that source is outside of us. So over time, it'll come from inside of you. Got it? So it will take a bit of time, but no big deal. So when people do it with the source voice aspect of them speaking through them, what they often find is it's a lot softer. It's a lot more gentle. What if the source voice side of you was actually what you said about yourself and to yourself more often? How could life shift? Then all of a sudden we would drop all of these labels of who we are. I'm this, I'm that, right? You'd even stop labeling yourself with a job. You know, you go to a party, what do you do for a living? I'm ... Pretty soon that drops. You're like, I'm Divi. And you'll find that when you drop that label of yourself, people won't ask you that question. Do you know what I mean? When you go to a party, they won't ask you. They'll just say, oh, what makes you tick? Wouldn't that be a nice conversation? Who are you? What's life all about for you? How do you feel? Doing this type of exercise a couple minutes every day, and what I personally do a lot is through the day, a few times an hour, I'll say to myself, how does Source see me right now inside of me? Not outside of me, but inside me. And all of a sudden, just those words will like soften the fascia of my body. I'll just go, yes. Got it? How does Source see me right now? Love. Because remember, Source only loves.